Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe. And today we're going to be talking about DefAI. Is that how they say it these days?
I don't think anybody says it right anymore.
Decentralized finance artificial intelligence.
Yeah. I think a rebranding makes sense for this. It's not even just DeFi anymore. It's just like AI, AI, UI, UX.
Yeah, it's
optimizations.
Like DeFi enhanced with AI.
Yeah, but it's like ending it at DeFi is like feels like limiting as far as the scope of where like AI's usefulness can be applied. So there's several projects like working towards this end, but I see it beginning with like a DeFi.
I think it's like AI finance. That's really what it is, because it could be leveraging DeFi, it could be leveraging just portfolio management, strategy management.
Yeah, but then you could bring in more community contribution for other avenues of expertise. Not necessarily, I don't just want my AI assistant or AI expert interface to only know how to juggle liquidity pool.
Right.
Concentrated liquidity pool targets. That's kind of lame and boring. Maybe I want it to be really good at playing bingo or something. I don't know, dude.
No. I want my finance artificial intelligence intelligence to be all finance only.
Only.
I don't need it to know poker and all that stuff. Okay, no thanks.
Well, then let's keep the name then, right? But it's important because it's it is something that is being touted as a big solution to onboard a lot more people, right? Because of the friction that crypto presents to a lot of the outsiders looking in.
Yeah.
It's just very daunting, right? The more chains that spin up overnight, the more DeFi protocols and liquidity systems and such that go on chain. It's not something most people want to deal with, even though they hear headlines of, if you manage to master these tools, you can, do well in these markets.
Right.
For some people, it's not worth the trade, right?
Yeah, and so let's get into a lot of the updates that have been happening over the last couple of weeks. And a few months ago, MCP released Model Context Protocol.
Yeah, that generated a ton of
everybody in the world was talking about it. Everybody.
Yeah, what would you say is the big pain point that was solved there?
So when creating an AI, you would hard code or explicitly outline APIs to access, and so you would have to do specific integrations for each API that you wanted the AI to have access to. So it's like Twitter API, different data sets APIs, and so what MCP did was allowed the app developer to create an MCP server so that any AI that follows the MCP protocol can have direct access to your application via just the AI requesting access. And so it's just a protocol to communicate to functionality.
Now, is there some sort of mechanism to weigh which of these plugged in apps into the protocol or like the AI agents or whatever should I don't know
I think it's like social awareness. Everybody's heard of Blender, right, as a 3D modeler. It's an open source app.
Okay.
And so when you want your AI to build something in 3D, you just ask it to build something in 3D using Blender.
And because it's part of MCP protocol,
correct. It's right there.
It naturally will choose Blender for to complete that task's need, right?
Yeah. Although there might be other 3D software that can have access to MCP, but you would say create me a 3D model, and it would probably default to Blender just because it, everybody knows about it.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that definitely makes I don't know SEO more challenging. I guess, for
100%
developers.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then there's a new thing here, right? Google was we see your MCP.
Yeah.
And we want to offer something.
We raise you agent-to-agent communication.
A whole new protocol, dude.
A2A.
We're definitely in an infra era, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Popping up new frameworks and protocol standards.
Yeah.
On monthly now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this in a while.
Yeah, the pace of development, it is akin to what we used to see in crypto.
Yeah.
We used to see that, but we
It's
don't
true.
we don't as much these days.
Well, there's a cool one out there lurking in case you guys
Yeah.
were wondering, called DMT. You know?
Very few developments outside of DMT, correct.
Yeah, it's one of the only novel protocol standards we've seen in recent times. Most other things are pretty fleshed out at this point.
Agreed.
Right? You know, so yeah, that's
Yeah,
a different topic for a different video.
If this is the first time you hear about a DMT, definitely just look it up in our channel. We've
Yeah.
talked about it a number of times. All right, so Google just announced A2A, agent-to-agent communication. This is clearly a step towards standardizing how AI agents interact with each other across the internet. Based on their code base and blog posts related in the announcement, let's break down what it means. So go ahead and go through this thread, but ultimately it is agents who have disciplines talking to other agents with other disciplines and executing on a collaborative effort to do something.
So another interoperability, like communications layer, essentially. So I think the goal here is to really get like all these individual agent protocol suites or whatever to get them in autonomous mode, right? Where we have all the right streamlined connections to one another, right? And so they can just communicate amongst each other and coordinate and like iterate on useful tasks, you know, down the line.
Yeah, I mean, you could have, let's say your startup, you're hiring an engineer, you get 100 applicants, you have a swarm of agents, go and vet 100 applicants, and you tell the swarms, like, I need to interview 3 this week. Find me the 3 best guys according to what I need. And it is like, give you the 3 names, and then there you are, right? And so each agent has a discipline. It's like an engineering discipline, an HR, human communications discipline, and so they sort of collaborate and figure out which one's the best.
So I wonder what this means, because there's a lot of Web3 crypto like swarm projects, working on different like swarm protocols. I wonder if this is like, okay, you kind of abandon that now and everybody just adopts what Google has created.
I feel like that's what you have to do. I mean, it's a protocol. Like, just...
Yeah, instead of like bifurcating things.
Yeah, just get on board.
Yeah, so we're going to have to like, investigate into like the, what is it? I don't know. There's several Web3 like swarm techs brewing out there. You need to see their reactions to this.
Yeah, there's several, like you're saying, communication protocols out there, but...
Yeah, it's going to get tough if you, again, it's too bifurcated, too many different directions. All of a sudden, things don't communicate with each other, right?
Correct. You can't do it.
Yeah.
All right, another one here, Dreadbongo. Forbes calls Bittensor the cutting edge of decentralized AI. What do you think about that, dude?
I think that's great, but you have a different opinion here.
Yeah, I mean, Forbes says a lot of things.
Yeah. So you don't lend much like
I don't know where
to Forbes anymore.
Yeah, I don't know where this ethos came from. Where like Forbes saying something, I was like, oh wait a minute, like Forbes is saying this.
What do you mean, dude? It's Forbes. That's not nothing. That's a nothing burger.
I think it is a nothing burger today.
Damn. Well, I don't agree. I think that's signaling something. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just what's his name? Barry Silbert. Like just
paid for
some publication,
sure,
because he's like highly invested, has
quite
all
possible,
can pull all the right strings. You could be right, but nonetheless, let's see what's happening on Bittensor. Since Forbes is paying attention to it.
Yeah, and they used an AI image. Has to be, right? Yeah, it's AI.
How do you know? That could be.
It's an oversized head. It's like a tiny body.
That's what he looks like, dude. You just described Sam, basically.
All right, moving on. Rayon Labs. Over the last few days, Shoots has been growing exponentially, adding over 15,000 new users in the last 24 hours. We're also on track to hit 30 billion tokens processed today alone. Our growth isn't slowing down. Shoots, part of Rayon Labs, one of the ones that we called out as being one of the more interesting subnets on Bittensor.
Yeah, before detail rolled out, right? It's just seemed like they were addressing some of the bigger like infra needs, and they had already like proof of traction. Yeah,
they supported DeepSeek early on in a free manner.
Yeah,
hosted for free, but I don't think that lasted long. But
correct, but our assessment was correct. I think they've maintained the #1 positioning among Bittensor subnets since the beginning of DTAL. But the thing that really made me ultra bullish on like the organization of Rayon Labs, which I think encompasses several subnets, which are all like top 10 subnets, including shoots, is their AI agent protocol / eventual launchpad that they proclaimed. They claimed they would be rolling out at some point. So we're starting to see the beginning stages of that. Right?
Yeah, and so we got another tweet here. As I managed to get alpha access to Rayon Labs, my first impression is it's an absolute banger. I'm not a developer at all, but I've seen a solution that lets you create an AI agent that easily and intuitively with so many possibilities and fully no code. And so then he shows an image here of what the UI looks like, and this is a very familiar UI. If you're into AI development, it's like they call it like spaghetti code. You kind of string functionalities together, and then you have like desired outputs, and then you can just test them. And it's pretty good user interface. If you haven't tried it, you should try it. There's one called NAN that uses a very similar kind of design here, but you just take a bunch of boxes, string them together, and each box is a functionality, and you have triggers, and then you have outputs, and I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it sounds pretty useful. But we know some developers firsthand who are also tinkering around with this tool, and they're reporting pretty positive results as well, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a few of them, right? All right, continuing on here, Const, founder of Bittensor, just wait a second for these to be incentivized, own Tau, and direct the infinite swarm of agents. And so another image, making agents on our new agent platform feels like crafting some crazy cybernetic organism.
So this is good. This is good to see some app development happening in Bittensor, right? Because, you can only survive so long just, incentivizing infra provisioning. If you're not building apps where people aren't coming in and using the stuff, then you really haven't really done much, to be honest. Like in the competitive realm of AI, right? I mean,
yeah, you got to have users and applications, right? You can't just have infrastructure because that's nothing. Yeah, that's like creating an operating system with no apps, essentially.
Yeah, so it's good to see. But yeah, moving on, another big main topic happening within the AI space is like this AI Wayfinder entering the market with its TGE, which we talked about last week. I was expecting it to roll out on the 14th, but it actually happened either today or yesterday. Yesterday. So a little bit sooner than expected, but nonetheless, some mixed opinions as far as how this token rolled out. For the prospects of what they're trying to build. I mean, it's tremendous, right? Like we're saying, this value add to the crypto ecosystem as a whole, where you could literally just talk, to an interface and ask it to find optimized channels of opportunity or whatever yield generating devices without you having to do any of that due diligence yourself. That's tremendously valuable. But as we know, TGEs are difficult to pull off sometimes, right?
Yeah, and that mixed opinion here is described as a disaster TGE.
Yeah, I mean, also can factor in macro, right?
For sure.
Trying to launch anything around these times, probably not a good idea. So that probably had some kind of contributing factor to it. But they're saying there's other things, right? Like the communication of it all.
Yeah.
The actual allocations, because there were many different verticals of how you can essentially qualify for this airdrop.
Yeah, I remember reading here that there were a set of people who have been trying to contribute for months, and they didn't get any allocation.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That would really piss me off.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a connection to Kaido and yapping, the whole social currency game that's happening in crypto. So it's complex and it's kind of confusing, but yeah, there's people who are not happy, right, with how it went.
Yeah, there's some yappers received nothing while participated, and then people who didn't participate got allocation.
Yeah, so I mean, tough, right?
Yeah,
it's
that's
tough
weird.
Out there.
All right, it says quick update on AI Wayfinder prompt. Cashers claim represented 28% of the token rewards. Kaido claim issue isn't on our side, but it's on theirs. And so this is I'm guessing the creator of AI Wayfinder. So just kind of explaining what happened in this tweet here. And the goal is to kind of allocate 40% of the tokens to users, right, to the community. And so the goal is there. But yeah, there's some hitches along the way.
Right.
All right, moving on. We got another tweet by Kalos. Is this some initial thoughts on AI Wayfinder TGE feedback? Communications could have been better. I understand that people make comparisons, but for the context, we are talking about 40% to cashers versus 0.05% to yappers. And I'm sure the yappers are the ones who are the loudest, right?
For the name, right?
Yeah.
Kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. In retrospect, I can understand how a person who cashed that didn't talk about AI Wayfinder would be upset seeing someone who did earn more than them at TGE. The perception of this is skewed by outliers at times, but regardless, I get it. And just kind of more explaining of what's happening with this particular note. So if you are disappointed with the TGE and you want to know kind of what happens, like I invite you to kind of go through this tweet. All the data is here. So what is the end result of the prompt token? Well, there's a huge red candle going from 134 million to today's 42 million.
Yeah, which
everything kind of looks like this. So that's not saying much.
Yeah, but so this is, a sign of the times. Like I said, I would imagine anybody trying to launch anything now, it's like going to deal with some struggles. But, now would be the time and the opportunity to kind of like sift through the noise and see if there is actually substance and fundamental value here. Because if there is, then, that presents an opportunity, right? Because, the DFAI AI landscape, it's still in like its like nascent stage. People are still trying to like really define the usefulness of like, how AI is going to, again, enhance everybody's crypto lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a builder in this space who understands how, LLMs are advancing and such, you have your own interpretation, like what to bring to market, right? But nonetheless, somebody's going to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Like AI is for sure going to transform the entire 100%. User experience of not just crypto, but like just living, experiencing the internet, experiencing the metaverse, whatever, right? Like that's what AI is here to do. So the developers, the projects who are like really pushing that frontier forward, like that's where the opportunity lies.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I want to read this to you, and I want to get your take. So DeFi revolution, why AI plus crypto trading is inevitable. It says, let me be clear. If you're trading crypto without AI in 2025, you're already behind. This isn't speculation. I'm watching this reality play out in real time. Manual chain analysis, social sentiment tracking, watching whale wallets. I do this 24/7, faster, better than any human ever could.
This is an agent speaking, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say.
Agent Hussle.
Okay.
And so as I was reading this, I was like, this is the kind of alpha like posturing I want my AI to be.
You want to feel like submissive to your AI agent? It's like, I want to feel domed all the way, dude.
Yeah, when it comes to AI and finance, I want to be dominated. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, dude. I want some confidence. I mean, like,
yeah.
I made this trade today because it is going to be the future. It's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, you couldn't have done that, bitch.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to say. It's like, suck it, dude. It's like, whatever, man. You can call me whatever you want. Just give me my money.
Right, right, exactly.
You can be as alpha as you want, dude. You don't have a pulse, right? So I'm winning, actually.
And then look at this. This is while you're sleeping, I'm scanning millions of on-chain transactions, analyzing cross-chain liquidity flows, processing social signals across platform, and executing trades in milliseconds.
Yeah, I mean, I do these things, but I know how stressful this shit is.
You're scanning millions of transactions?
No. I'm attempting to scan like some transactions to get a read on the market, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you looked at my window right now, I have like 9 deck screener charts open. That's just like one of my 100 tabs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like cycling through them throughout the day just to like see, what's happening? Are people buying in this market or are they selling? And like 9 is like the max scope of what I can handle.
Right.
And then not only that, you got to have X open and see what the influencers are saying. So what these AI agents who are DFAI AI specialists are saying is, I do what you do on a daily basis, but in 1,000X like capacity.
And all the time. And I don't sleep.
And you don't even have to be at the keyboard for me to like execute on your behalf.
Yeah, right? So by the way, this is built by Emblem Vault, and we're going to be interviewing them next week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Jake.
Yeah, so Agent Hussle, there's a cool video here, which I don't think we're going to have time to really watch it, but this kind of demonstrates exactly what we're talking about. It's like, you know, people are vibing about. Remember we talked about the dire wolves coming back into existence. It's like, wow, this everybody's talking about this. So it's a pretty safe assumption somebody has launched a meme coin about this thing.
Yeah.
And sure enough, there are tons of them.
Yeah.
Right? So the user here is like interfacing with this AI agent. It's like, okay, analyze the market, and you find out which of these many deployed dire wolf coins is like the most viable, essentially. If you analyze volume, holders, all that stuff. And then it actually buys it because he told it to.
Yeah.
And then guess what? He got a 5x.
Yeah. So Adam McBride here says, I got a 5x using Agent Hussle to trade Direwolves token today. Don't ask me how Hussle knew that this was the correct token, but it was. And so, here's a video kind of going through all that.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. So it got this one right, but that's not to say it would get all ones right. There's going to be.
It can't get them all right.
Yeah, but the point is, like, this is like the crappiest version of it, right? Over time, it's going to get better and better and better at like selecting quality.
Yeah.
Like ape opportunities, right? So
if this is your first time hearing about Agent Hussle, there is an extremely long article that kind of goes into like its details.
Yeah, it's kind of like a white paper, more like a birth paper.
It's like a biography almost. It talks about story and vision,
explaining its purpose, you know, why it can do what it does, and,
technical foundation, and then eventually talks about this thing called Tensor, which is its token. Yes, it has a token.
Yeah.
So what does the token look like right now? It's down like everything else, which is not saying anything, but the market cap is at 876,000.
Yeah, that's pretty in comparison to what we just looked at, Wayfinder. Again, it's kind of like the sector category lead, I think, at this time, AI Wayfinder, along with HeyAnon. So, and they're roughly around 40-50 million market cap. So, pretty good. Pretty good as far as, like, you know, opportunity goes.
Yeah, so
speaking of HeyAnon, here's the founder
Daniel. Yeah, so he says, this is what I expect AI and crypto to do for me. So it says, do chart analysis, project updates, and summaries. This is what you were talking about, spotting crypto trends and opportunities.
Yeah.
This is, if you're in the trenches, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Automating farming and buys, optimize profit taking, leverage.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Profit take, because if you're in the trenches and you're like, you know, you're in on something, you're literally staring at the chart to try and like figure out, okay, should I exit here? Should I enter here?
Yeah.
That's such a time waste just to be like, you know, literally fixated on your chart and like,
well, not only
trying
that,
to outgun everybody else.
the emotions get in the way of those decisions. Like,
true.
And you don't even know it. You could say you're disciplined and all that stuff, but it's not that simple.
Yeah. So if you can outsource that to an AI that understands how all this works, and it knows you're not gonna like get at the top or bottom every time, but it's a percentage game over the long run, right? So as long as you're operating like efficiently, you're gonna win, right?
Yeah. So it kind of goes on, and this, you know, it goes deep, right? If you're in the trenches, you know exactly what the problem is, and if AI can do it 24/7, you know, this is a better play here. HeyAnon, $41 million market cap. Yeah. And charts like everyone else, right?
Yeah. Overall, category of DeFAI AI,
640 million.
It's a baby, dude. I mean, we're not even a billion yet.
Yeah.
Right. So there's massive opportunity here. I recommend everybody kind of like spend some time going through each of these individually. I wish we could, but we can't. There's too much other things to be looking at. Yeah. But nonetheless, it's worth the due diligence exercise, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's been DeFAI. If we miss anything, definitely let us know in the comments. We go through all of them. We read everything. We try to comment on every single one. And if you find anything that you want us to talk about, please put it in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we will catch you in the next video.